Okay, let's talk about step 3 in the getting started process, and that's the follow-up, okay? You built your prospect list, you counseled with your upline, you counseled with your upline on your inviting, you put that into play, you have people in the pipeline right now that are looking at information, and you've already determined times where you're following up face-to-face or you're following up on a telephone. Now the most important part is the follow-up. You can do, I've seen this so many times, where representatives go through the process, but then on the follow-up, they just aren't consistent. They let too much time lapse. See, remember, when it's very predictable. When someone says, I'm going to view the information today, we want to talk to that person as soon as possible. That's why we say, what time can we talk the next day? Because it's fresh in their mind. And not only that, it gives them that this is a sense of importance. If you say, if you make a follow-up appointment and the person's looking at the information on Wednesday and you set up a time on Thursday, but then you don't call them on Thursday and then you'll wait till next Thursday to call them, well, how important was the information that you actually sent them? You're telling them it's important, but it wasn't important enough to stick to your follow-up and not call them back and then wait a whole another week. And then what some representatives do is they think, well, I know my person, I want to talk to my person myself, and they will follow up themselves. So think about this. You got a new representative that just got started in the business. They don't know a whole bunch about the business. They don't have a lot of confidence at all about the business, and they probably don't have a lot of belief about the business. But then they feel that they're going to go and follow up and answer questions and get this person involved in their business. It doesn't work. The predictable result is this. It doesn't work. So what you want to do in the follow-up is very simple. If you're doing it on the telephone, okay? If I'm the upline and you are the brand new representative, we would connect on the phone, called a three-way call. We would already connect, and then I would go ahead and call, or you would call that person we're following up with, okay? And here's the process. If it's you, obviously it's your contact. Let's say the contact is Bob. You would get on the phone, hey Bob, it's Sue, just wanted to follow up with you with the information that Kris and I sent you. I have Kris on the phone right now, Bob, and let me tell you a little something about Kris. This is called edification. Kris is one of the top leaders, within our group on Agile. I work very closely with Kris. I've known Kris for X amount of years. He's a stand-up individual, and his business has just taken off. I'm working hand in hand with Kris. That's edified me. And what you want to do before you actually get on the call is get with your upline to say, okay, Kris, how do you want to be introduced? And then you write down the bullet points. So you introduce Kris in the proper fashion. You're putting Kris on a pedestal because he is the third party person that's the expert. And then when you do that, you do the introduction, then what you do is say, Bob, now let me introduce you, Kris, let me introduce you to Bob. And you know all about Bob. So then you build Bob up as a very awesome potential business partner. So now, then what you do is you're quiet. So then now the upline is going to conduct the call. Now, when I can talk about you on the call, and it puts you in a different light, because Bob probably doesn't see you as being successful in any type of business, let alone network marketing. He doesn't even know how long you've been in or if you're doing good or anything like that. But now I can say, hey, Sue's doing awesome. She's getting off to a fast start. She's extremely coachable. She has a burning desire to make things happen. And I'll tell you what, within the next 12 to 14 months, we have a plan that's going to get her out of her current job or whatever it is, whatever the thing is. So then, now you're just quiet on the three-way call. You let the upline expert talk with Bob and answer the questions with Bob, and they'll go through a process, and you are absolutely quiet. If you're asked to talk, you talk. Other than that, you don't talk. What you're doing is you're writing down, you're listening how your upline is answering the questions, what they're saying, what questions they're asking Bob, and you're just writing it all down. You're listening. And when your upline asks you a certain question, then you answer that question, and that's it. You don't give any more input other than that. Your upline will take them through the process, getting to the point where we either have determined we need to get them more information, we need to schedule a face-to-face appointment, or they just ask the question, are you ready to get started? Okay, and it takes all that out of your hands. So a lot of times, the representatives who are smart, a lot of times they don't do a lot of work. The hardest work that they do a lot of times is just that prospect list and doing a good job counseling. Sometimes they won't even contact their prospects themselves, and then the follow-up call is already set, and then on the follow-up call you're doing nothing more than introducing Bob to Kris and Kris to Bob, and then you're quiet, and then next thing you know you have 2 or 3 representatives in your business and you really didn't do anything physically, but you learned a lot about the process, because at some point in time you're going to be that third-party expert, that third party that just goes through the same process. So, that's the follow-up process right there. Now, some aspects of the follow-up is if you're conducting the follow-up and you're asking the questions to Bob, okay, first thing you want to do is, okay, Bob, well, did you watch the video? Yes. Well, what are some of your first initial impressions and thoughts? And Bob's going to start to have some questions for you. Now, all you do is you answer the question that Bob presented. So if Bob said, well, I don't know if I have the time. Well, then we talk about, about having time and about fitting this in your schedule, about leveraging time and how much time does this actually take, and then we answer that question. And, well, based on that, are you ready to get started, Bob? What do you think? Well, then you might have another question, so you answer that question. And then, okay, Bob, any more questions? Okay, well, what do you think? You ready to get started? I mean, it's a pretty simple process. Okay, you just answer the question that they pose in front of you. And understand this, when people start asking you questions, usually the 4th or 5th question they ask you is typically the major hurdle that you have to get over. The first couple ones are just defense mechanisms. I don't have time, I'm too busy, I don't know if I can do something like this, I don't know if I know 2 people, and then it might be, well, I don't have the money to get started. That might be the real one. Typically the first couple ones are just some defense mechanisms in their head, but understand that their real question lies in the 4th or 5th question or whatever. You, as the upline that's conducting the call, what you want to do is find out solutions to their problems. That's all this is about, is finding solutions to whatever problems they have. Well, look, I don't know if I know 2 people. Well, you know people who are just not happy with their financial situation, that want more out of life? You know people who complain about not having enough money? Well, sure. I bet you think you could probably know about 5 to 10 people like that? Yeah, probably. Okay, well, let's put those names down and that's it. You know way more than 2 people, okay? And you find solutions to the problem. I don't have time. Okay, well, in your schedule, you have about 2 to 3 hours a week, 15-minute blocks a day. Is it too much to ask to spend 15, 20 minutes a day, working with us closely over the phone? No, for that? Well, no. See, you just find solutions, and then you just get enough solutions so there are no more objections. So, you can't just let them say, okay, this is an objection and that's it, and just leave it at that. Okay, that's giving up too easy. Okay, then that's the people on the other side just trying to come, they're testing you out. So, whatever question it is, answer that question, find a solution, move on to the next. If they don't have any more, then what else is there to do other than ask the question? Well, based on what you've seen, are you in or are you out? We're moving quickly. We think you'd be great on the team. When can we meet face to face? And there's your follow-up. So, great prospect list, you counsel with your upline. You invite, you counsel with your upline before you invite. Follow-up, you counsel and do it with your upline. Understand the one common part of this is you are with your upline in the whole process. You are counseling with your upline in the whole process. You're doing a game plan with your upline in the whole process. You are not doing this by yourself. If you do this by yourself, you are going to fail, you're going to be frustrated, you're going to go through some of your best contacts, you're going to just waste your time. You're going to have to go back to them and do it right. So do it right in the beginning.